find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Nuoff in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. He doesn't qualify as well as he races.
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Marcello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under the safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately or something. What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and approach he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed Morton forward up ahead. He's got out of line. Is now Pike going to have a go at Werrell? Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
On to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is been enjoying himself watching the Burger King machines off into the grass a little bit there as they're really bunching up now.
Standing out from the crowd is a challenge. You have the passion, courage, and ambition to do something extraordinary. You have an awesome story to tell and a wonderful vision to share with the world. At Eddie Videos, we take that vision and turn it into reality so you can be heard above the rest. You need something different, and we give you the ultimate advantage. We can help you transform your ideas, images, and clips into a professional video that brings your message to life and sets a new bar for excellence. Visuals, voiceovers, editing, animations, whatever you need, we've got it all. If you're a new business looking to make your mark or an experienced company searching for something new and amazing, we're here to help. Trust us to take your video to amazing levels of awesomeness.
Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
Haven't got it!
He's on the outside line, though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now, though, for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's come back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such up. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it! Big Barry!
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Radical Race Series for the final season of 2023. Another 12 rounds ahead of us in what plans to be and what we hope is going to be another fantastic season of this great championship. Last time out it was John McCutcheon who crowned himself as a three-time Radical Race Series champion after wrapping up the title with one round to spare. Now we move on to a new season, and the first location is Donington Park here in the UK. The Grand Prix layout on this occasion, taking in the S's, of course, and the Melbourne hairpin as well, on what's a fairly British-heavy first half to the calendar, with 3 out of the first 7 rounds being held on the British Isles. Welcome along, one and all. I'm Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt once again for the season. We're very excited to be here once again, James. It's a fantastic series. Sprint and feature format racing returning once again, as it has been for about a year now. And what a great season we had in Season 3 of 2023. We're hoping that that will continue on into Season 4.
Finale that, you know, it didn't go down to the last race. It was already wrapped up beforehand. So, you know, I throughout the season, though, okay, so let's go back. So throughout the season, we did get some great racing, and I mean great racing. We had side-by-sides, free wides, we had it all, everything. You know, and John McCutcheon did a stellar job. He wrapped it up as well. And we went into the last race and everybody thoroughly enjoyed themselves. And I think, do you know what? With Simon Edwards, you know, Paul Clark, Paul Crabb, I can't see Luke Maxwell and I can't see John McCutcheon at the moment. I'm not entirely sure they're here. So, you know, we'll have to see how that goes out. Maybe they're missing this week and they might be back next week, or what the situation is. But I'm still expecting great racing regardless. And whether or not Simon Edwards, as you can see at the moment, you know, will go out and dominate like Simon does Simon things, great. But I'm still expecting battles all the way through the field.
Yes, certainly hoping so. Anyway, and by the way, I do think that Luke Maxwell and John McCutcheon are actually just not here today this week. Simon Edwards apparently went for a run yesterday and is feeling a bit worse for wear. So that's to be factored in as well. And of course, we have a new qualifying format here this season. You still get your 3 laps and your 10 minutes, of course, but everybody's out there on the circuit together this time, which is going to be a bit of a palaver for some. And the warning and the advice to everyone from Darryl Taylor at the start of the round was, you know, be nice to each other, give space, and hopefully they all get along. Now, having open qualifying like this does throw up some difficulties and could throw up some people getting in the way of those lap times, but we're hoping not, and we're hoping that it adds another dimension to this series, really, that has always had great dramatic qualifyings in the past, and we've got them all out on the circuit together in qualifying.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I thought they might have done, because it's open, I thought they might have extended it. I thought they might have gone 15 minutes and given them, 5 laps or however many laps or whatever they want. But they haven't. They've kept it at 10. So qualifying is going to be even more vital here, and I think that's going to be the thing they've got to look out for. Qualifying in an open qualifying is always tough. It is always tough because you have to, one mistake, you have to make sure that you can pick your place and get out in front. Simon Edwards is doing a great job at the moment. He is out in front and motoring as Simon Edwards does do. But I think they just got to, this open quali is going to really spice things up.
Yeah, I'm not sure how pit boxes are ordered in qualifying, by the way, in Harrison, but Simon Edwards was first. And he has made his way out onto the circuit first as well, so he'll be first to set the benchmark. I think that's Paul Crabb just behind him out on the road at the moment as well. Believe it is, so he'll be coming in second. Not a purple lap, though, from Simon Edwards early on here. I think that's gone to Paul Clark so far in this session. Maybe not, but Simon Edwards certainly leading them around. He goes over the top of the hill at the right-hander at Coppice. Now down the hill again towards the S's and the final chicane. I say final chicane, I'm too used to the national layout. Of course, they're heading left out of here and heading towards the Melbourne hairpin as well. Just adding a few seconds to the lap time, making this circuit feel a bit more like a proper racetrack, really, rather than a really, really short track, which, of course, it is when you get the national layout.
That's the thing, isn't it? We're turning right at the, we're not going... we're turning left at the S's, and normally on the national we go right and come round and then start it all again, and it's just kind of like almost a oval with just some squiggly bits in it, really. But they've added the tail on, which is the Melbourne hairpin and Goddard, so it's going to make it a lot more interesting. I still think the lap times are going to be low. You can see we got a 1:25.529 from Simon Edwards, so I'm not expecting massive amounts of lap times. We've got 11 laps for the sprint, 19 for the feature, so they're not going to have long, but I think they'll be able to work it out and manage it as well.
Yeah, they should be able to figure it out between them, although saying that, I think Michael LeMay went off the road there at turn 1 maybe, and he could find himself in trouble with traffic. You can see how long it's taking everyone to get their laps in as well here. The last of the drivers now just coming through turn 1, and they're all sort of in one long line, so thankfully this circuit is just long enough for everybody to get through all right. But you just never know what can happen sometimes with these things, and actually they're still not all done quite yet, are they? Ben Underdown is still not over the line yet at the very back of the field. He will finally do that in a couple of moments' time, and he does now. He moves up to 5th place, so that's pretty much the entirety of the circuit covered right now, and that's going to be a problem at some of the circuits. This one is one of the shorter ones on the calendar, though, with the possible exception of Mossport at the very end of the second to last round. This possibly is the very shortest of the circuits that we have here this season. Simon Edwards goes a bit quicker on his second lap then, and so does Paul LeMay, but not quite as quick as Paul Clark and Mike Booson, who get over him. So does Barry there in 5th place. That's 3rd place even, I should say. Yep. Moving up. Yeah, excuse me. At 23.5 for him. Close times, but Simon Edwards still on top.
Yeah, he definitely is, and I think that's going to help Simon Edwards, as it's always will do, and I think that's the thing. He's done what he needed to do. He's out in front. I think if he gets a sniff or an ounce of moving ahead, he's going to be gone, and I think it's going to be between Clark, Barry and Booson, and obviously Paul LeMay as well. So we'll have to see how it works out and what happens. We've got some obviously new drivers on the grid. Clark Williams is here as well. Tom Minot is here, and there was somebody else as well, wasn't there? Was that the only two?
Yes.
Oh goodness! Now you're
Pat Charlton's
testing me.
back. Patrick Charlton's back as well. Yeah, Patrick Charlton, Clark Williams, Tom Minot, Ben Underdowns now here once more as well. We have to pick up on one thing at the moment as well, just to make sure we don't confuse the situation. Right, this young gentleman here. No, he's not. There he is. That young gentleman there is Paul Clark. Okay. This young gentleman with the blue roll bar is Paul LeMay.
Wish they wouldn't do stuff like that.
Well,
but,
give it a chance. I think that's the thing. Paul sent me a message earlier on, and he said that obviously him and Paul have teamed up to race in the RSR Grand Prix Endurance Series. And then he obviously told me Paul's livery's got white roll bars, I've got the blue one. So, yeah, that's the difference at the moment as well. Then he did say he may run white wheels, which he has. So what's Paul's wheels on his car? He's black. Okay, so there you go.
Well, that clears it up.
So does it though? Does it?
No, but we'll get used to it. By the way, with the trialling of open qualifying, the 3-lap thing is no longer a factor. I know I misspoke earlier on and said it was. It's still 10 minutes, but you get more than 3 laps quite clearly because they're still running around. Simon Edwards, for example, just completed his 4th, and we'll need to keep improving because he's being very closely followed at the moment by Paul Clark, who goes over the line there again. He's not quite as quick, though, on that occasion. Neither was James Barry, who's in 3rd place at the moment. But, yes, open qualifying now. 10 minutes on the clock. We've now got just under a quarter of that remaining. And that does mean that you might even have at some of the shorter tracks an option to pit halfway through the session and then go back out again on a new set of tyres, if that really helps. Of course, at the longer ones, it won't really, but some of these shorter tracks, maybe it will help to come in halfway around and see what you can do on a second set of tyres. But of course, then you've got the palaver of finding a bit of free track space, and that's going to be difficult at circuits shorter than this one, and indeed this length as well, because earlier on, pretty much the entirety of this circuit was covered by race cars, and some of them are off the road now. I think that was Paul Godden at the old hairpin going wide, and he still hasn't returned to the racing surface.
No, he's still trucking over the grass here. Mike Busson's down in 5th at the moment. James Barry has split the I-Lounge boys, so he has split them as James Barry. It was interesting with James Barry last year or last season I should say, not last year, because he always showed pace, didn't he? And I think that was one of the things that we liked, was that he always showed pace and he was always quick, and the fact that obviously his finishing position was down in 20th, I don't entirely know if that was justified. Don't get me wrong, he only completed 4 rounds, but I reckon James Barry could be a bit of a dark horse this season.
Yeah, I think so. We'll have to see how many rounds he can do for a start, but yeah, I mean, because that does factor in quite heavily to a finishing position in the end. But yeah, you just never know what he can do really. So we'll look forward to that, seeing how he gets on over the course of 12 rounds. By the way, all of the rounds are confirmed in terms of length and in terms of the circuits. We're following the officials again, and we're back onto officials start time in sim as well, by the way, which gets the temperatures a bit higher than they were last season, where things were a little bit unbearable. Now we're back to officials pretty much. All of the rounds confirmed, apart from the last one. iRacing have gone back to the Northside finale, and we're not. So, well, I don't think we are anyway. So that's going to be a change as we go along. Simon Edwards just improves right at the very end. It's a 23-0 from him, and he will stay in front of Paul Clark and Paul Crabb off at the start of this race with that late improvement. Didn't need to do that, but did it anyway to confirm his first pole position of the season. There we go. the standings. There's the grid for us here this evening. Simon Edwards and Paul Clark on the front row, ahead of Paul Crabb and James Barry, who's put in a very impressive performance there to go for. Paul LeMay and Mike Bousson share row 3, ahead of James Child and Jamie Bird. Michael LeMay and Wayne Palmer round out the top 10, with returning Ben Underdown 11th, ahead of Darryl Taylor in 12th. Then in 13th position, it is going to be Clark Williams and Tom Minot. Robert Woodward and Patrick Shelton will be on row 8, ahead of Damien G and Phil Justin. Paul Goddard and John McCutcheon may have just snuck in right at the end here. We didn't see him in the session for a very long time there, but I think our reigning champion might have just snuck in late on.
Yeah, I think he must be on a last to first challenge or something, because I believe he is here, but he's not here. He's not on the grid at the moment, so, let's see what happens.
He does always grid up very late,
yes.
So we won't be any the wiser until pretty much the lights go out, really, because he does like to play those games and wait around a little bit. Paul Crabb doing the same as well. You notice the whole way his car should be in third at the moment. He is on the grid. There's John McCutcheon. Uncharacteristically early. There was at least one person after him. Anyway, the lights are going to come on now, and he's going to have to do a last to first challenge. At the front, it's going to be Simon Edwards, not doing the same at all. Once again, starting from the pole position in a new season of the Radical Race Series here at Donington Park. In towards turn 1, Edwards holds on to the lead, with Paul Crabb getting up into second place. It's not a good start for Paul Clark. He's got James Barry alongside him at the moment. They're fighting for third. Clark just holds him off. Barry into fourth, and Mike Bousson rounds out the top 5 as they head down towards the Holt hairpin for the first time.
Yeah, everybody got a flying start. McCutcheon's up a few positions already. There's James Child off the same side of the circuit there as well, as they're running up the hill under Starkey's now into McLean's. It's going to be very interesting because Hutch is up 8 and they've only just got off half a lap here, so a great job from John McCutcheon. Barry's got pressure from Mike Bousson. He's also trying to put pressure on Paul Clark. This is a very Paul Clark circuit. He makes it extremely difficult for people to overtake. James Barry's in the gravel.
And following Jamie Bird, who went off earlier on in the lap. If you saw at the old hairpin, he was the one taking that trip through the gravel. And James Barry's just done the same at the S's. Now down in towards the Melbourne hairpin they go. It's side by side between everybody. Barry will at least gain one of those positions back. He's up to 8th, just ahead of Ben Underdown. And then it's Tom Minor on debut inside the top 10, by the way. Outside line there for Barry on Michael LeMay, is it? Yes, it is. Great start from Michael LeMay. He's not that far behind Paul LeMay, as Clark Williams has gone off as well, I'm afraid, at the sort of Grand Prix section, if you like, the cutout where the Melbourne hairpin is. Must have gone off at the very final turn then, I suppose, the sort of off-camber turn 12. Let's see what happens to Clark Williams. He's looking inside and outside, and he's just got that all wrong, I'm afraid.
Yeah, he definitely did there. Not an ideal scenario for him, unfortunately, but there we go. Battle commencing from Ben Underdown and James Barry now, with Tom Minot tucked in right behind him.
He's looking for a dive down the inside there, is Barry. That would have been brave on Underdown, who got back through on him there. But how long is that going to last for? It's an interesting situation with positions chopping and changing again and again in sort of this 6th to 13th region. It's a very close battle up front there, spreading themselves apart really. Simon Edwards still leading at the front of this race, of course, but further behind, this is where the action is. Barry slightly offline there through the chicane. Tom Minot very close behind. They're all looking for defences and for moves down the inside at the hairpin. That's all very close together. It's side by side between McCutcheon and Wayne Palmer, I think that was. John McCutcheon's made up 9 places in only 2 laps.
Yeah, John McCutcheon's absolutely flying there. Barry with a little bit of check-up. I think Underdown got a little bit of a slow exit. Paul Clark's now under pressure from Mike Bousson. This is a Paul Clark circuit. He will position this car absolutely dead right, and you're not able to get through. It was lucky for Paul Crabb. He got it straight off the line, got it set up, and he was gone. But for everybody else behind this train, behind Paul, he is known as Paul Super Wide Clark in the Discord for a reason. He is not the most easiest man to overtake. This is not the most easiest circuit to overtake on either. So, you know, it's going to be tough. But we see what happens here with Paul Clark and Mike Buisson.
It's not an easy circuit to overtake on, but I feel like the opportunities down at the Melbourne hairpin are going to be quite good, as we've seen already. John McCutcheon is up to 9th now. He's ahead of Michael LeMay and also Wayne Palmer as well, who we've already spoken about. They're now fighting in a 3-car group with Robert Woodward as well, actually, who's in there. Ben Underdown has dropped out as well, and that's given McCutcheon a place. Will there be another one in towards the Melbourne hairpin this time? He looks up the inside at this downhill braking zone. He's given the room by Tom Minot, and unfortunately, he looks like he's going to lose the place. He's held it round there and might have the inside for the final turn, which is a very good place to be, although the off-camera nature of it kind of makes the corner not very good for anyone. Inside line for Minot. He will hold on here, will he? Not quite. McCutcheon will have the inside for turn 1, and surely then he will have the move done.
Yeah, he should have it done here if Tom's got any, you know, savvy on race class behind him, which clearly we've just seen he has. He should just allow Hutch to get on his bike. Mike Buisson is very, very close to Paul Clark. They're running up under Starkey's now. On to McLean's they're going to be going, and that situation has arose that we said was arose. They cannot get past Paul, and it's going to be tough. Don't forget, it's Paul LeMay in the place behind him here, and obviously they have teamed up, so Paul Clark and Paul LeMay. It is going to be really tough for Mike Buisson. I can't see where he's going to be able to get the run, where Paul Clark won't be able to stick his car because of the nature of the circuit. It's going to be hard, and Buisson's got to try something. He's got to try, I don't know, dummy him, set him up, send him, well, not send him wide, because obviously that would have pushed him off, but you know what I mean. He's got to do something with him. He's got to play a little trick or a little jiggle or a little shimmy. I don't know. He's got to do something here, Ewan.
Yeah, and like you, I can't see it happening just for the moment either. I think that this is exactly where Mike Buisson often finds himself in these races. Don't forget, he did finish 4th comfortably in the championship last season. He was a good nearly 30 points ahead of the driver in 5th, Seth Brown, and 70 points exactly behind Luke Maxwell in 3rd. So he wasn't really likely to ever lose that 4th place, for better or worse, for gaining a place or losing one. So this is exactly where he seems to find himself in these kind of races. And at the end of the season, these two might well be quite close together. You would imagine Paul Clark, Mike Buisson, Paul LeMay as well, probably in the standings. If Paul Crabb can be here a little bit more often than he was last season, then maybe there'll be a charge from him as well. But we're looking forward to a great season. All the big names are here, and they're all up towards the front. At the moment. One of them's trying to make their way towards the front, and that's John McCutcheon. He's already made up 12 places today. He's in 8th now, not far behind James Barry, and they're both going to try and gain places, actually, because let's not forget that Barry lost all of those positions earlier on. He was outside the top 10 at the point of his mistake at the S's. Now he's back inside of it again. He's with John McCutcheon, who's, as you can see there, already gained 12 into 8th place.
Tom Minor, I must believe, might have got a slowdown at the S's there, because he has just lost 2 places to Michael LeMay and Wayne Palmer. Further down, we got Jamie Bird having a battle with Darrell Taylor. Now, they've been in and out close to each other. Darrell's on the back end of the return of Damien G, which is great to see as well. So there's pockets of battles all the way through the field, and I'll keep an eye on as many as we can here. But Michael LeMay is probably leading the main one, with Wayne Palmer, Tom Minot, Robert Woodward, Ben Underdown, all within literally about a second and a half, maybe 2 seconds at the most.
It's all staying very close, and your point about overtaking being difficult is proving to be true at the moment. Michael LeMay heading this train with Palmer, Minot, Woodward and Underdown all involved. There's one with James Child now as well, with Barry and McCutcheon, as we were just speaking about those two, and they're going side by side now. James Barry realising the situation here and just letting that position go, really, after I think a mistake up at Coppice. I think he just got a little bit wide on the exit of turn 8.
Paul LeMay not. Now what does that mean, Handsome Stu?
I don't know, but I didn't want to say it out loud in case it was rude. Though maybe
I don't know.
No, I don't.
We don't
have a
either.
clue.
But these guys are having a nice little battle. Ben Underdown, Woodward, Palmer, LeMay, and they're at one point side by side in front with Palmer here, who's losing a couple of position. He's just got a position back over Robert Woodward here, Ewan, and they're on their way down into turn one.
Yeah, Minot could get away from this group as a result, actually. LeMay holds on to a top 10. Nearly free wide with himself, Palmer and Woodward there, with Ben Underdown looking to just take advantage, but in the end there was nothing to really take advantage of on the home straight. So they're all still stuck in their train, really. Michael LeMay still at the front of it, but Tom Minot has been able to get himself away from it, and that's to secure himself a 9th place finish and maybe a front row start for the reverse race as well. I say reverse fixture, that's the wrong sport. Reverse race, top 10 to be reversed for the second race of the evening. That format does stay the same. I know we've tinkered with qualifying slightly, but the races stay the same here for this season.
Yeah, they do, definitely there. And the reverse fixture, or I don't know, do they have that? I think that's football more than what we're watching.
Exactly. That's wrong sport entirely. But yes, just getting my terminology all wrong. Down the inside for Jamie Bird, who's also recovering in this race, by the way. He's made up 5 places since his off-track moment at the old hairpin on lap 1. Seemed to just almost drive off on his own there. Don't really know what that was about. Oh, and he's been served off now. Well, that was quite rude. It was Phil Jocelyn, was it, down his inside. Darryl Taylor was involved there as well. And unfortunately, Jamie Bird has got the right to feel pretty aggrieved by that one, because that was a real serve. Bird went late on the brakes himself, actually, and still managed to get hit from behind.
That was Paul Godden.
Paul Godden, excuse me, sorry Phil,
that's right.
accused him of something he didn't do there.
Yeah,
Paul Godden.
Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, a real shame. And a shame for Jamie Bird as well, who often does actually have good openings to the season, but not this time, unfortunately. Michael LeMay's off at Coppice here. I think he may have found himself off the road on his own, and there's a lot of grass and gravel to find yourself in if you manage that as well. It's not in Coppice at all, it's the old hairpin. There it is. And you can find yourself off the track for a while if you're down there as well. It's a very long way to the wall, which I guess you can be thankful for at some points, but it's a bit of a palaver to get back on the circuit, and Michael LeMay's down to 14th, and that group that was fighting for 10th may well just start to spread out a little bit over the course of the last 3 laps, which we're nearly into now.
Yeah, I'm when I say what I'm about to say, I've got no disrespect to Michael LeMay. I'm not surprised he was there and he ran wide. The reason I say that is over the last 3 laps, every time he's come through the old hairpin, he has been flirting with the grass on the left-hand side. So he's got a couple of tyres. So obviously he's been pushing that corner a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then, of course, he just pushed it too far. He couldn't get the car slowed down enough, and then unfortunately it was good night Vienna. So, you know, tough for Michael LeMay, but not as tough for Wayne Palmer, who's battling away with Patrick Charlton.
Yeah, Charlton through, and he's made up some places today as well. That was quite close to the grass as well for Ben Underdown, who would have been sailing into the both of them and playing his own game of skittles down at the old hairpin. Thankfully that didn't happen. He just hangs back in 13th, but of course they're fighting for first place. Oh goodness, that was a lock-up on the brakes there from Wayne Palmer, and he'll be under pressure from Ben Underdown now, surely. No, Underdown still playing this very carefully, isn't he? He's not wanting to get involved in anything, and Robert Woodward now holds that pole position for the second race, but Patrick Charlton wants that one. He hasn't got long to get it now, but very interesting battle for that pole position in the second race of the day.
Yeah, James Charles putting John okay, he was putting John McCutcheon under pressure until that we just caught the back end of whatever was going in there, and unfortunately he had a big old wiggle on there, and that caused him a problem. But Ben Underdown, Wayne Palmer, Underdown has made an attempt. Okay, I was going to say he made the move, but he hadn't. He's made an attempt and just, I don't know, I get the patience, but you're running out of time, you've got to now force the issue.
Oh dear, that was wide again from Charlton, and very nearly got hit by Wayne Palmer at turn 1. We are very much running out of time now. Penultimate lap of the race. 11 laps, by the way, in the first one, as you can see, and 19 as it will be in the feature race. That, by the way, is the format for 3 rounds of this season, which is weird, but I guess it's the length of the circuits and how it works. So 19 in the second race, coming up a little bit later on. Who's going to be on pole for it? At the moment, it will be Robert Woodward. He's got just over a second from Patrick Charlton. Maybe with that move and a little off moment, or offline moment, I should say, for Patrick Charlton at turn 1. Maybe Woodward now has been secured that 10th place for this race, but it's going to be close to the very end, as it will be in some of the other battles further down as well.
Yeah, it definitely will be. Jamie Bird's trying to get hold of Darrell Taylor. I just wanted to pick up and see what was happening down there. At the moment, Bird seems a little bit too far back. You can see we're on the final. Ooh.
Oh, what's going on here?
Crab's
Into the pit lane
pits.
for... Oh, Paul Crabb, what's going on? And Mike Bousson slowed down as well.
No, that was John
Almost.
McCutcheon. Bousson's still on his way. What went on there?
That's very strange. Let's have a look.
Oh, I can't. I don't know
this.
if that's... No, too far. Hold on. I'll try and get there.
Oh, this is a bit of a mystery, I've got to say. So, this is John McCutcheon behind... That's not any of the people he's around now, is it?
No. That's quite a far way back, actually. Maybe I got a little bit too far. Let's see if I can get it just on the point here. I have to be careful.
Yeah, why has Crabb come in? That's the real puzzling one for me. He was second on his own. He wasn't near anyone. He can't have made contact with anyone. Because you can't go off track and retain second in the position he was in.
I'm not sure, but we're going to need to pick up. I think Simon Edwards is coming, round the Melbourne hairpin.
Yeah, certainly is. And, well, there's a mystery behind, but we'll work that out a little bit later on. Simon Edwards is in the lead of this race and looking to take back the title. He's won 5 already in the Radical Race Series, and now he's on his way, and he's opened his account for Season 4. It's Simon Edwards who wins here at Donington Park for the opening race of the season, ahead of Paul Clark, Mike Bousson and Paul LeMay, who all come across the line almost as one. John McCutcheon holds on to a top 5, gaining 15 places in one race, and further down in 15th is Paul Crabb, who pitted from second. I wonder whether he underfueled by a lap, and he's put 10 laps of fuel in it for an 11-lap race. He's had to put a lap of fuel in right at the end.
Yes. 4.25 seconds pit stops. I'm probably guessing that is the fuel issue. And I'm probably guessing he hasn't got much left, being that he is obviously stopping on the grid there.
Weird one for Paul Crabb, I'm afraid. It's really sort of ripped apart his day, because he'll be starting this second race from 15th as well. It's given Patrick Charlton a spot inside the top 10, by the way, so he'll be on pole for this second race. And Ben Underdown's going to be very disappointed to have just missed out there by about half a second. Here's Clark Williams making his way to the line. His Radical Race Series debut, so we're pleased to see him get to the end, but unfortunately he's had to take a trip down pit lane in this race as well, unfortunately for him. So here are your race results after the opening 11 laps. Simon Edwards, who wins by over 8 seconds in the end from Paul Clark, Mike Bousson and Paul LeMay, who come over the line together. John McCutcheon was inside the top 5, just beating James Barry and James Child to the line. Tom Minot, Robert Woodward and Patrick Charlton will be in the top 3 for the opening race, for the second race, I should say. Ben Underdown will be 11th, having just missed out, along with Wayne Palmer. A few seconds further back was Michael LeMay down in 13th, with Damien G and Paul Crabb not far behind after that pit stop. Darrell Taylor and Jamie Bird were battling for 16th to the line there. Phil Jocelyn just beat Paul Godden to 18th, and in 20th was Clark Williams, of course, who we just saw come over the line right at the very end of that race. So 19 laps coming up for the feature. And a very bizarre end to the opening race of the season, it has to be said, especially with Paul Crabb. The only explanation that we've got, as I say, it has to be fuel.
Yeah. I am going to just tag Paul and check, because I think it was. But let's see what he comes back with and tells us here as well. Great racing. I think the thing is that what we said about Simon Edwards happened. He got out in front, he went away, jobs are good, and he was gone. And then we had that battles after. So I think it now could be a little bit more interesting. John McHutchison's going to be up and about there as well. So we could have a nice little tasty charging Scotsman, hotter than a haggis, coming through the field there. I don't know if haggis
served hot.
Well, they cook it, don't they?
I don't know. I've never had it.
Yeah, they do. They cook it. I don't think they serve it cold. Well, I'm sure they didn't when I was in Edinburgh, but I don't know. It'll be fine. It'll be all right.
Yes. We can go with that analogy. It's fine. It's only.
Stop trying to prove my allergies wrong.
Oh no, I'm exposing my own lack of knowledge really more than anything about haggis. Anyway, let's get to the grid for this 19-lap race. Then Patrick Charlton will be on the front row with Robert Woodward. Tom Minor on debut, only third here. Up in third, I should say. For the start of this one with James Child. James Barry and the man we were just talking about, John McHutchison, will be 6th off the start. Paul LeMay and Mike Booster will share row 4 ahead of Paul Clark and Simon Edwards, who rounded out the top 10. Ben Underdown and Wade Palmer will start this race where they finished the last in 13th. Michael LeMay and Damien G will line up on row 7. Paul Crabb will have work to do from 15th, and I'm sure he will put on quite a few overtakes throughout this race. Darryl Taylor 16th ahead of Jamie Bird and Phil Jocelyn. Then Paul Goddard and Clark Williams round out the 20-car grid. Good turnout, by the way, here this evening for the opening round of the season here at Donington Park. And we're set to get underway for a second race of the evening. 19 laps, reverse top 10. This is where the madness all happens. Patrick Charlton hasn't even gridded up here, so drama early on. Robert Woodward's going to start from the front because Polster to Patrick Charlton won't even take the start from on the racetrack. It's Robert Woodward who gets off to a good start, and James Barry down the inside of everybody to get in towards second place already. John McHutchison's already third as well. It's a chaotic start with some people not getting away quite so well. Simon Edwards stuck in the mid-pack at the moment. He's side by side with Mike Booson there briefly. Although he does get through down the S's, he will into the old hairpin. Up to 7th already is Simon Edwards. But he goes immediately off the road. The race one winner off the road, down the pack as well, outside the top 10, and with a lot of work to do now.
He's all the way down in 16th. Simon in the old hairpin. Off he went. Robert Woodward, you are being far too respectful there. You might as well give him your keys to your house. You left the door wide open there. And James Barry did come through, but look, what did I say? There he is, the William Wallace of the SR10s, sitting in third already.
Very close behind Robert Woodward there. Very nearly went into the back of him at the chicane as well. Now looking down the inside in 4th is Tom Minor, looking for that third back with 3 wide. But Hutchinson will get into 2nd. Woodward goes wide again. And there's contact with Minor. Dearie me, they're both in the wall. They're both down in the pack as well now, I'm afraid. Tom Minor and Robert Woodward both way down and both into the pit lane after an accident on lap 1.
The worst thing might not come across. You didn't give him room. You didn't give him room, but also this has happened as well. Poor Jamie Bird once more has had a problem. He's been off the side of the circuit again here as well. He just overshot it. That's going to be a slowdown. He is going to be there for ages now with Mike Booson still chasing down Paul LeMay. And if Paul could do what Paul Clark could do, the two Pauls are in a good place. Michael LeMay is going up behind Phil Godden here as well. And Clark Williams is doing a great job. He's up 5 places at the moment, sitting behind Damien G. So fair play to Clark Williams. I don't think it's long before this man, Mr. James Barry, is going to be under pressure.
Yeah, he will be, but let's not forget his pace in qualifying and how close it could be to John McHutchison's. I think we could get a good race for the win here between these two. The reigning champion, of course, our 3-time champion of the Radical Race Series, John McHutchison, and James Barry as well, who qualified up inside the top 3 in this event. He's got the pace, certainly. Does he have the pace to hold on to the win? James Child and Paul LeMay were fighting for third there, and they still are in towards the final turn. Paul LeMay does now get through. and he's into third. Chow down to fourth, and here comes Mike Booston. Remove maybe into turn one. No, he will stay behind. Just behind that is Ben Underdown, who's made a good start. 5 places gained so far. Paul Clark is up there as well as Paul Crabb, who's also gained 7 places in the opening 2 laps.
Yeah, but nobody's as good as this man. Mr. Sim Stickers Paul Godden. He is up 10 places. 10. Go, Paul. That's all I can say. Good job, mate. James Child here having a battle with my boots on, but look at this front. Look at the front, Ewan. It's happening now as well. A battle of the ages we're going to sit and watch with with John McCutcheon, James Barry, Damien G's had a big one.
Looking at the inside there, John McCutcheon was finding an impossible gap on the way in towards us again. Let's have a look what happened further behind. Damien G gets into the grass and he's all right for now. What was going on there? That is a big mystery. We've had some mysteries tonight, and that's the biggest of them.
Hold on. There is a gentleman off the side of the circuit here, and it won't even let me pick it up. So I'm guessing Phil Jocelyn is somewhere off to the left-hand side, then comes back on the track about now, and that is where Damien G hit him. Because I've got a Phil's got a problem with his internet. But John McCutcheon has cleared James Barry.
Well, that's a mystery, but yeah, I think internet is the only explanation there. As John McCutcheon does indeed get past James Barry, goes off though. James Barry's going to get back up the lead, is he? He'll go around the outside and he will be back in the lead. And now here comes Paul LeMay. He tries to find a gap. He'll look at the inside as well into the next turn. It won't happen at turn 7. So we've got 4 for the lead, maybe more. Maybe we've got 8 for the lead at the moment. This is ridiculous. John McCutcheon with a very short-lived lead in this race. James Barry now back at the front defending for his life again, with still 15 laps to go at the line.
Do you know my fear now? I fear that Paul LeMay had that one opportunity with the door wide open. He should have put it in there. I know they're respectful in this league, and that's what we love about it, because their racing is so clean. But he should have done that, because he's now going to miss his opportunity, I think. And now all he's done under is literally under pressure from Mike Bousson, who's going to be under pressure from Child, Underdown, and the Irishman of Paul Crabb. So this could be a very interesting one as well. Tom Minor, 100% on me. I'm sorry, sir. It definitely was. You went over the nose of Ben Underdown, and unfortunately Ben couldn't really go any more left than he already was. So great battles happening here at the moment, Ewan, but watch out, because we've got 14 laps remaining, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 possible winners here.
Yeah. By the way, Tom Marlett saying here that this was only his second ever race in this car. So fair play to him for being on the pace as he was. And hopefully we'll see him back next time around. Did admit his mistake immediately, but Robert Woodward wasn't particularly agreed with him, if you like. It's absolutely, he said it's fine, really. So they're all good, and hopefully we'll both see them both back next time out, which will be at Manicourt, by the way, in 1 week's time. Battle for the lead continues then. James Barry leads the way ahead of John McCutcheon, Paul LeMay, Mike Bousson, James Child, Ben Underdown, and Paul Crabb, all involved in this battle for the lead now, and Paul Clark is not even that far away. John McCutcheon getting super close in towards the final corner. He can't find a way through there as Paul Crabb gains a place but loses it. Oh no! Paul Crabb goes through briefly on Ben Underdown and is recovering from yet another incident here this evening.
Ben Underdown, Ben Underdown, Ben Underdown. You, my dear sir, are on that. And that was an Underdown tap on the bottom. But James Barry, John McCutcheon, Paul LeMay all swapping positions. Paul LeMay in second. So was Bousson. Bousson's going to go into third. Great job from Bousson. And unfortunately for James Barry, one mistake in the old hairpin there. And he's lost 2 positions.
Yeah, it was I'm not sure it was a mistake at the old hairpin. I think they were side by side on the way down the hill there, himself and McCutcheon. They were exchanging places as they went, and in the end, after being pushed offline, he lost a further 2. Mike Bousson now going for the 1-2 for the team as well. He's looking at up the inside and the outside, in towards the chicane. This is very close. Paul LeMay right in front for the moment. Now Barry looking for a way through as well on the inside line. We'll see if he can manage that in towards the Melbourne hairpin as well. No is the answer. Oh no, yes he does, sorry. It's a third place. So LeMay now leads Barry and Bousson in this battle for second, but John McCutcheon is now gone.
Yeah, he's now done what John does best and flies away at the moment. So for John Hutchinson, he is going to be gone. So now for Barry or LeMay or Child or Clark, they're going to need to get a hold of him. Ben Underdown's in the pits there. Ben Underdown is into the pits. I can't see a reason why. I think maybe he's just forgot to put more fuel in because he has pitted on lap 7. So there we go. But James Barry having a marvellous fight here as well.
Yeah, certainly. So it's great fighting for now. Bouson's so close to the back of James Barry at the moment, but I do fear that John McCutcheon is gone. Nearly 12 laps remaining in this race, or just over 12 laps remaining in this race. As I say, James Child here as well. See him in the dark green, just in the background. Bousson with another run in towards the chicane. He does often get quite close through here, and he does force Barry to defend as well on the way in towards the chicane this time around. But it's not going to happen there. It might happen on the way out. Mike Bousson alongside, and he should have the place now. He set that one up perfectly for a move at the hairpin, and he will have it done. Barry breaks as late as he can to try and alleviate that, but to no avail. Mike Bousson is now up into a podium place.
Yeah, Bousson there doing an absolutely stellar job, taking third there as well, with Paul LeMay now in front of him. John McCutcheon in the lead here, and gone. Darrell Taylor, Clark Williams and Wayne Palmer having a steady fight once more. Palmer's getting onto the back and is trying to make his way through. So let's see how this one turns out and whether or not it's going to end the way we think. And now we come away from the battle, and now they're back together.
Yeah, so further back there's a little group going on for 9th place, and then there's this one for second as well, although Paul LeMay seems increasingly to be getting away at the moment. Bousson increasingly the cork in the bottle as well, but I do get the feeling they're starting to spread out anyway at this moment. So let's see. 11 laps to go, just over at the line. 4 drivers, by the way, down on pit lane or not taking part here at the moment, by the way. Patrick Charlton never getting the green flag, unfortunately, and I still don't really know why for him. He never took the green, even though he was going to be starting from the very front. Eventual pole sitter Robert Woodward is out in the race now, as a result of contact with Tom Minot, who is also out, and Damien G had that contact with an invisible Phil Jocelyn, which he came off more than second best in, I'm afraid, for Damien G. He's stayed out on pit lane and maybe suggesting that he'll take a run out for the points at the end, but even so, it's not a good day for him, and not a good way to start his season, unfortunately for him. So second race of the season, and John McCutcheon is already leading. It seems that despite starting last and not even qualifying, it doesn't matter to him. He can still manage 2 top 5s in one night, which is what he looks set to be doing at the moment.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's out in front, he's flying. As we said, once he got out, he was always going to fly away. It was always going to be the battle for the second and third. He made up bunches of places. He's gone out, he's done what he needs to do. James Child now having a great fight with James Barry here. So let's see how this one turns out. But it's been an interesting one. There's been a few incidents with people, and it's all very, very bizarre. We'll try and find out from Damien G what that situation was with him, because I've got a funny feeling it was the returning Phil Jocelyn. But yeah, it was very strange.
Yeah, I think it was, but I think internet's the best explanation for that. And Damien G just seemed to be out now. No explanation yet, and no more points to really be gained either, I'm afraid, as this race ticks on longer. He's already 5 laps behind the next car. I suppose there would be if someone goes off, but he's not returning, fortunately, to the race. So the battles that are going on. Wayne Palmer has just been overtaken at the moment by Clark Williams, who's now gained 11 places in this race so far. That's a great showing from him. Didn't really get to see what he was made of in the opening race of the season because he was off at the final corner and then dropping a long way down. But now he's inside the top 10, or was briefly. He got to 9th and has been since overtaken by Wayne Palmer and Darrell Taylor, shoving Clark Williams back down to 11th again.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look and see here. You can see Palmer's going to make his way round the outside, so he's just gone. And unfortunately, Williams then opened the door up and Taylor followed him through. So I don't know if there was a bit of mutual respect and maybe Williams turned around and was like, actually, do you know what, you go, I don't want to get involved, or what the situation was. But one man that is trying to get involved here, James Child, as he comes up through the S's, the left and right, they've got to watch the off tracks there. They are very, very tight, scarily tight here. And one man that's also under pressure at the moment is Mike Bousson, as Bousson goes up the inside at the old hairpin and takes second place away.
Yeah, 1-2 for the team. Mike Bousson getting up to second ahead of Paul LeMay, who I really thought would actually have that second place and just run with it to the line. By the way, back in the pack, Simon Edwards still only 12th at the moment, and that's a surprise to see for the opening race winner. I know he went wide at on lap 1, but I thought he could pick up the positions after that. Clearly, it's been a struggle for him so far, and he's not really gaining many more as things stand. So he needs to pick up some more points at this stage and start picking up places at this point. Otherwise, he'll be playing catch-up with John McCutcheon all season, which is what looks like happening right now. 5th and a 1st in one evening. It's a very good showing from McCutcheon, and at the moment can't quite be matched from Simon Edwards, who needs to gain some places here. He's a second and a half behind the battle between Darrell Taylor and Clark Williams, so maybe he'll be in with a shout at top 10 very soon. You'd imagine he'll catch them before long.
See, now, I thought that, right, and for the last 3 laps, it's been round about a second each time. Now, the interesting thing is it doesn't seem to have been any major improvements for Simon Edwards. He's pulled out, as you can see, over Paul Goddard. He's opening up gaps there, left, right, centre. Over Williams, he's got 1.8 on lap 10, but this was teetering around a second and has been for a while. So I'm not sure what the difference is here, but maybe Edwards, I don't know. Maybe he's not loving the circuit or what the situation is, but I think he should get these guys. But I don't know when he's going to get them, because it's going to be a tough one for him to try and get them.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be... I'm speculating myself. Does he have damage as a result of running off track there? Does, underfloor damage kind of thing with that car? Because it doesn't quite look right for him at the moment, and something just... about his pace doesn't seem to be quite there, and clearly it is, because he won the first race by a mile, really. So I don't really know what damage, if there is any, that he has right now, but he's clearly struggling. The good thing for him is that even 8th place is not that far in front. Paul Crabb is there at the moment after his issues earlier on. There was contact, of course, at the final quarter for him, so maybe there is damage there as well, because he's not quite pushing on as much as he would like either. Wayne Palmer just behind him. Then there's a bit of a gap between the train, headed by Darrell Taylor a bit further back at the moment, but everyone's still struggling to find a way through. This is the closest battle out on the circuit, though. Those leaders now are quite far spread apart, and they've kind of settled to the positions that have been dealt by their pace, really. And there aren't any battles continuing on. Bousson has pulled away from Paul LeMay in that fight for second, which is still the closest.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the thing here. I don't know how much of a top 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 change we're going to have. I think it's going to be here with Darrell Taylor, Williams and Edwards where the change is going to happen. But I think maybe that top 3, possibly 4, depending on how Barry can get on closing into LeMay. I think they're pretty much set at the moment.
Yep, looks like it. So through the old hairpin for Edwards. He closes on Williams again. He's got a decent run through here, but there's not a lot of places you can really go through turn 6 and 7. He'll look to the left, end up on the outside, but it won't matter to him. Round the outside he'll go at turn 7, and through goes Simon Edwards into 11th. So that's one position gained and another point to his name as well. But he's going to have to do that quite a few more times over the course of the next 6.5 laps or so. Still plenty of time on his side at least to gain places.
Well, he's got to be taking chunks out. Whether or not he'll get this man in 9th, that's going to be a different story, but he might get somewhere near him. I don't know how hard the Irishman is going to defend him here, so this could be an interesting one from Paul Crabb on whether or not he's going to try and defend this like an absolute trooper. So we're going to have to see how this one pans out and how far that pink and purple machine can get up the back here. Darrell Taylor can defend. He can defend quite hard as well. So let's hope that Taylor does give him a bit of a mission and defend hard on him and not just kind of roll over like a newborn puppy and get his belly tickled here either. We want him to give it a go, Darrell. Come on, you've got this.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be hard for him to hold on, really, from Simon Edwards, who will look for this top 10 now, of course. So under the bridge, they'll go into the corners where Edwards was able to make that difference and overtake Clark Williams on that last lap by ripping right around the outside at turn 7 in a great move, although Clark Williams was sort of willing to hand that one over to him anyway, so didn't matter too much in the end. Oh, Taylor not quite going to do the same, going to still look for this top 10, and Simon Edwards going to look to take it off him for the moment, but into the chicane, he's too far back. He'll need a good run through here to have a go at the Melbourne hairpin. Oh, is Wayne Palmer's off here? What's going on there? He must have just spun on the way out of the chicane, unfortunately. That curb on the outside can sometimes do that to you, and Wayne Palmer has had that happen to him on this occasion. No. It's the most severe of slowdowns, if that's the case, but it's clearly not, because don't lose that much time.
No, I'm a bit confused there, so I'll go on a hunt. You carry on. Let's try and see if this can actually pan out here. Simon Edwards on the back of Taylor once more. So Crabb's kind of giving it a go. LeMay, Charles Clark, Barry LeMay, Buisson and McHutchinson. Buisson and Mr. Paul LeMay, of course, is getting right close. But I want to focus on what this man can do. This champion of champion 5 times over here is trying to make his way through the field. The problem is now he has got Darrell Taylor right next to him. Whether or not Taylor can hang on, that's going to be a different story altogether, and this is going to be hopefully, well, a battle for the ages, but let's see if Edwards can get Taylor.
Well, not with a run round coppice like that, I'm afraid. He was very wide. He'll pick up a bit more time in the slipstream there, but he's going to struggle to find his way through it, and this does demonstrate a little bit the difficulties you have at Donington Park in terms of overtaking, because even with all due respect, Simon Edwards is a bit quicker than Darrell Taylor. We saw that in the first race. Was Edwards, well, it's quicker than everyone, wasn't he? He should have found it easy to come through the field, but he's not found it easy. It's been difficult so far, and he's going to need a mistake. That's exactly what he's got. Darrell Taylor goes for a spin at the final turn, and into 9th place goes Simon Edwards.
Yeah, he got all out of shape before it even got there, unfortunately. And then Darrell Taylor come into the final corner. Oh, he just didn't get it stopped. And then, unfortunately, did he throttle it again? No, he didn't. It was just that one. So there we go. But Buisson has closed it now. Well, he got past Paul LeMay, actually. I'm wondering where that actually happened. Oh.
Yeah, that was a while ago. Now it's LeMay coming back again. So Buisson got through a long time ago. This was the move, down in towards the Melbourne hairpin. And then he got away to about a second. And well, I certainly thought, well, this is job done from Mike Buisson. It's going to be a 1-2 for Radline. But no, Paul LeMay has got something else to say. And with 3 laps to go, he's closing in again, although still over a half a second back.
Yeah, he's still... I'm hoping Paul LeMay survives for the season, right? And the reason for that is because he was quick last season, and I'm hoping that he'll be able to recover that kind of form, that ability to try and stay here and be quick, because he has got the pace as LeMay, and I really want him to stay and do the whole season, because I think he will do really well.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think he would like to as well, but unfortunately that's not all that matters sometimes. So we'll see how much of Paul LeMay we see on this occasion. Don't forget, I mean, a couple of seasons ago when we went back to the SR8 for a season, he was in championship contention for quite some time. Got a pole position here or there as well. He was right on the pace, and he is here again, clearly in the SR10, closing on Mike Boosson through Coppis, and now there'll be a chance at the chicane, surely. Boosson weaves to just to get rid of some of that slipstream, but LeMay's going to head his way down the inside, and he's going to be given that almost by Mike Boosson. I don't really know what Mike's doing, to be honest, but maybe just looking for that run off the corner instead, but he's not got that either. He's not got the breaking in towards the Melbourne hairpin either, so it's Paul LeMay up to second place, and suddenly Booston's falling way off.
Lack of pace for Booston there as well. Wondering if over these 17 laps here, that it's just kind of now for Booston's tyre wear situation is kind of whether or not they've started getting hot and just dropping off. And the problem is obviously at that point you're just more of a slippy, slidey Bambi on ice than you are of a car in the Radical SR10 here, Ewan. So is he getting to that point where he's getting a little bit slack with it at the moment? You know, we've got 29 degrees track temperature. I'm sure he shouldn't be struggling too much, but maybe he is.
He's struggling with something because he's now 2.5 seconds away. This is turning into a minor disaster now for Mike Booston, and towards the end of these races, tyres are becoming a factor. If you remember back to a very long time ago when we still have single races on a round evenings, it was the season that Luke Maxwell won the title. I think it was season 3 of 2022. Was that last year? 2022 season 3. One of the races, especially Phillip Island, Luke Maxwell's tyres fell off entirely at the end of that race, and I wonder whether that's happening to Mike Booston right now. He's off the road again. Now James Barry's through into third. Clark goes through as well. Mike Booston's having a disaster, and through will go James Child as well. Don't know what's happened to him, I'm afraid, but he's now outside the top 5, and I don't know if it is tyres, but something has gone wrong, and he's falling, plummeting down the field. He seems to have no power at all now.
Is he out of fuel?
Oh.
He's stuttering.
Oh, is it stuttering? Okay, I can't hear, of course, but
he is stuttering. I'm wondering whether or not Mike's run out of fuel here. I am seriously wondering whether or not Mike Booston has run out of fuel. And I think he knows.
Yes, he has. Yep. So that's it for Mike Booston. It'll be a DNF for him, I'm afraid. He will finish 15th in the end. Wayne Palmer in the pit lane at the end of that. And that's where he's going to finish, Mike Booston. So no podium anymore. Don't know why he didn't come in, to be honest. But anyway, I don't know why he tried to save that fuel either by slowing down so much, but clearly that was a miscalculation that he hadn't realised for quite some time, and it's quite a big miscalculation to miss as well, I'm afraid. We're on board with Paul Crabb, by the way, as he tries to take the place away from Michael LeMay, who's in 6th now, but John McCutcheon is making his way in towards the final chicanes. He's become a 3-time champion recently, of course, in the Radical Race Series, having won his first time all the way back in season 2 of 2021. He's now taken the last 2 seasons, going for 3 in a row to get his 4th title, and this performance right here will put him right up there, collecting a load of points from a round where he started from the very back. At Donington Park, it's John McCutcheon who takes the first feature race of the season, and it's not even close either. A gap of nearly 8 seconds to Paul LeMay by the end, with James Barry coming home third. A dominant display for John McCutcheon in a day where he started from the very back.
Yeah, he absolutely dominated it, and I said, and he's gonna get away if you let him. If you let the Scotsman go, and I put it in terms that I thought he might understand, he's gonna come through the field like a hot haggis, and he did just that, and he did an absolutely stellar job. So I'm not gonna say I told you so, because I don't do things like that, but I told you so.
Well, I've got to say I'm a little bit surprised. I didn't think I'd see John McCutcheon winning today, but there we are. We shouldn't be surprised when we see him win, to be honest, because he is at the absolute top of his game at the moment. By the way, I had confirmation from Damien G there in Discord that, to his knowledge, he just got completely destroyed and obliterated.
Yeah.
No reason. But so he's none the wiser either, really.
No, he just said my car exploded. Ria, it's very odd to see that, because your spotter tells you how many laps you have left, and if that's close, you know how to lift and coast.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. We do agree, but it is also not the first time that our very own Mr. Mike I Can't Fuel the Car Buson has run out of fuel. So it wouldn't surprise me, Ria, as much as we would hate to take the mickey out of Mike Buson, it isn't the first time.
Where was it when he was on for his first win in an age and he ran out of fuel? Maybe it wasn't even on JPB yet, but it was his first win in an age. I seem to remember a race at Fuji maybe when it first came out. Was that with you? Maybe I can't remember.
It was.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
He was on his way to his first win in an absolute age. I mean, even I've been watching him for half a year and getting close and not managing it, and he still was in a race-winning position and still ran out of fuel. He didn't actually lead himself to be. He ran out then. He just he pitted on that occasion. But yes, he does have a history with it. Yes. Unfortunately, does Mike, and yes, he's I think fallen foul of that today as well. John McCutcheon certainly didn't though. He wins by 7.7 seconds ahead of Paul LeMay and James Barry, who will join him on the podium. Paul Clark and James Charles finished inside top 5. Good overall evening from James Charles, by the way. 2 top 10s from him, and solid top 10s at that. Michael LeMay ends up 6th as well, picking up the pieces from those who fell by the wayside along the way, including the likes of Paul Crabb and Simon Edwards, who both made mistakes and had spins, of course. Clark Williams and Darryl Taylor round out the top 10. Ben Underdale finished 11th. He finished in the first race, incidentally. Paul Godden finished 12th ahead of Jamie Bird and Phil Josh Sidney with the final drivers on the lead lap. Mike Bruton and Wayne Palmer retired quite late. Damien G exploded, as he said earlier on. Tom Minot was in contact with Robert Woodward, and Patrick Charlton never started that race for some reason. Despite being on pole, just wasn't interested in beginning that race. So don't know what was going on there.
No, I don't know either.
No, and we haven't heard from him either, so we may never know, to be honest.
No.
But anyway, he finished down at the back. Let's have a quick chat to some of the drivers then after that race, starting with John McCutcheon, who we're getting used to speaking in this position. Welcome in, John. Good to have you with us. I've got to ask, first of all, was it an intentional last to first challenge today, or a sort of a one that was made necessary by you joining late?
Yeah, it's necessary, unfortunately. My balls have started back up again tonight, so I'll probably miss a lot of quali sessions.
Your what?
Your what?
My bowls.
Oh,
bowling.
yes. You do the grass bowling, don't you?
The sport?
Yeah.
Well, it's indoor now, yes, but yes.
Oh,
so that started back tonight.
Yeah, don't you represent Scotland?
I don't remember.
Yes, I do.
Oh, wow, that does ring a bell, but I'm terrible with memory stuff, so...
I think he told us ages ago that he does that, so yeah.
Wow.
I'm going to Hartlepool this weekend for big qualifiers, so fingers crossed. And shout out to me.
I'm an
Get that out of the way. Yeah, good luck with that.
Let's talk about bowls, Ewan. Never mind the racing.
Yeah, explain what bowls is to it. Well, I know what bowls is, but I wouldn't know how to play it. Really, well, not well anyway.
You just
start
roll
chucking
a ball down a hill, and whoever gets it closest to the white thing wins.
That sums it up. There you go.
There you go. That's it.
But you've made it sound very easy. It's
definitely not.
I've never done it, but it doesn't look easy, I've got to say. But anyway, from bowls to slightly faster sports and sim racing. 5th place in the first race, John. 15 places gained over the course of only 11 laps, and a lot of those were at the start as well. Did you sort of set yourself a place where you'd like to be by the end of the first race, and how close did you get to that?
Yeah, first. Always want to be first, but it's not going to be easy starting from the back, and especially around here, there's not many places to pass. It's quite a fast-flowing circuit, and the hotter temperatures, you can see that they lock up the brakes now. So cautious, err on the side of caution.
What else has those hot temperatures changed now? Because I know last season we sort of went away from officials timing to sort of alleviate some of those temperature worries, but they're not so bad anymore. Is that the only thing that they're affecting? What else is what other effects are being brought on by this sort of higher temperature?
So far, the only thing I've noticed is the braking distance is slightly longer. So I just reduced my brake pressure a little. Because let's say it's easier to look up, but the grip seems just the same. It's all good.
And the second race, of course, you made your way through on 5 places in the end to get to the win there, and you were cruising by the end. Overall, a good evening, a good start to the season for you?
Definitely, especially with Simon losing some points in the second race, so that's always a bonus. But there was some dig.
The drama. Nails away, I'll tell you that much.
there was some good racing out there. Good door-to-door contact with James and one of the new guys. Can't remember his name. But it was all good. All good, hard and fair.
Yes. It certainly was. I think I know what you're going to say here, but is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, John, before we let you go?
Shout out to me.
Yeah.
And wish me good luck this weekend.
I've got a message from Ria on YouTube. She said he's going to be late all the time because he's playing with his balls.
Yeah, that's what I thought you said the first time. That's what I had to ask.
As well. That's why I had to
You call me a wanker?
Apologies for the language, John McCutchinson.
Sorry, boys.
Thank you.
This is what happens with drivers. Anyway, yes, good luck on this weekend.
Yes,
anyway,
good luck, John.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Bold. And congratulations on a successful evening tonight.
Thanks, Ewan. Thanks.
Thanks very much. John McCutcheon there, getting banned from JPB by swearing. Never mind.
There we go now.
Anyway, let's go to Paul LeMay, shall we, in second place in that second race, of course. Welcome back, Paul. Good to have you with us for a new season and a good start to the new season as well, with second place. Were you quite surprised to be second and not third, though, with Mike slowing down quite so much towards the end?
Yeah, good evening, guys. Yeah, it was a surprise. I was really struggling, and I knew Mike had good pace. And I thought, yeah, but I was just struggling, sliding around and things, and struggling coming out the Melbourne loop. And Mike just had the pace, so I let him sort of gave way, made it a bit easy for him, and then I sort of got my composure back and started to drive a bit more smoothly, and I could stick with him for a bit. And then, of course, he just conked out of fuel.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, we've seen that before. We're trying. We don't want to laugh. It's not funny, really. But
you wait till he comes in this booth, Ewan O'Leary.
We'll chat to him later.
James, you're going to give him a big earful, aren't you?
Oh, mate, he's going to wish he'd never come in.
Yes, he is. Unfortunately for him, we only saw you at less than half the rounds last season, Paul. How much can we expect to see from you here for the final season of 2023?
I'm always hoping to make every race, but last season I had some real problems with my elbow. Really struggled, and I didn't want to take anybody else out, and I didn't want to make it any worse. So I had to sit out of a few. But I'm just see what happens. Really, it'd be nice to do a whole seaon. Without doubt.
Yeah, certainly would.
I'll try, James. I'll give it my best shot, mate.
Yeah.
Drive one-handed. No, don't do that. But yes, we'll hope to see you at all the rounds this season. Paul, congratulations on second place in the feature tonight, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
Take care,
bye-bye.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much. Paul LeMay, their second place in race 2 here tonight, and a successful opening to the season. Let's chat to Mike Booston, shall we? Now that we've built it up and bring him in. The driver who arguably should have been second in that second race, Mike Booston, joining us now. Unfortunately, finishing, I think, 15th at the end or somewhere down at the back. Tell us, Mike, what happened in the second race to you?
Well, we're just debating that. I think I drove over something sharp and pierced the tank a few laps from the end. Because it can't have been me calculating it wrong. Because I don't do that something.
That's never happened before.
No, we've never seen you do that, Mike, have we?
It's new in this build, I believe.
Really?
Yeah. I was reading the notes earlier.
Oh, right. I don't know. Did you see anything about sharp edges piercing fuel tanks?
No,
it's new curbs on it.
Listen to you.
I think you're the only one that's heard that, to be honest. But yes, I mean, shame to see. I mean, was it one of those ones where you didn't quite realise until you were actually running out of fuel there? Because I wondered whether you would just come into the pit lane.
No, well, to be fair, I thought myself, it's over, whatever, so I might as well just limp to it, runs out completely. Because whichever way I look at it, it ain't going to end the way I wanted it to, so defeat its attitude.
Did you not realise at the beginning when you got in the car? And
No, literally, it was lap 17 I realised it started bleating at me.
Oh.
But
well, because we've got Rhea on YouTube, and she said it's very odd to me to see that, because your spotter tells you how many laps you have left. And if it's this close, you know to lift and coast there, Mike.
he may have told me, and I may have just not been paying attention. It could have been that. Who knows?
Okay.
I mean, overall, though, I mean, up until that point, are you pleased with the way that the evening went generally in terms of, when you were actually out on the circuit? It was going very well for you, and you're running comfortably in second.
Yeah, really happy with the pace. Car felt amazing. It's not a track that I excel at, and I've raced only a couple of times. So to be able to push them along and get past a few of them, I was really happy with the pace of me and the car. So yeah, it looking good for the season.
Yes, we hope to see you run well throughout the remainder. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, Mike, before we let you go?
Shout out to me crew chief. He's obviously doing a stellar job this season already, keeping me informed. So shout out to crew chief.
I'd
laugh if you.
Yeah, I thought that, mate.
Laugh if you look back and find out he did tell you.
Yeah, because I've got a funny feeling he would have done as well, because he said he would have said something along the lines of our pit window is this and that. At that moment, I'm guessing as well. But just to let you know as well, Mike, you've got a Specsavers where you are. They do great hearing aids, just in case there's an issue there with yourself.
Oh, I'm gonna take that with the disrespect I think it's intended.
Well,
that's very mean.
It is horrible.
I didn't say that.
Especially to the deaf community. I'm disappointed in you.
You wait. I tell you what, you are literally up the road from me, young sir. Behave yourself.
I see anybody, and if the bush is rustling outside my house, I know who it is.
Oh.
Yeah. James down the bottom of the garden.
That's it. I've heard about him.
Oi! Knock it off.
Anyway, it's a family show. Leave it at that.
Well,
it's not a John McCutcheon's beer, to be fair. But anyway, that doesn't mean you can, by the way.
No,
but,
I'll save it.
Yes, save it for afterwards. Mike, thanks very much for chatting to us, and we'll hopefully see you next week.
Yep, speak to you soon.
See you later, bye.
Thanks very much, Mike Booston, chatting to us there. Hopefully, pushing him out before he says anything that will get us banned. Let's talk to James Barry, who made an impressive debut, actually. Well, not debut, but first race of the season, anyway, for the season. Welcome in, James. Good to have you with us. And good results for you in the end. Good qualifying and second race result, especially as well. How was your opening round of the season?
It was good. I was in a great place at the start of the feature, leading the race at the start, and then had a great battle with John. And unfortunately, you guys just missed it, but quite a big netcode sent me wide. I don't know the turn number, but the fast sweeping right-hander at the bottom of the hill. And then I had damage from that, and it was kind of race over from there. I luckily got third because I think it was Mike who ran out of fuel. So it was a bit disappointing because I think I could have had the pace to challenge John for the win. And yeah, just the netcode ruined it, really.
Yeah, I mean, just how difficult was it to keep him behind at that point? Because I said it at the time, he got into the lead quite early on, got to the front quite early on, and there was a lot of defending to do from there on in as well. It was a long race at that point between the two of you. Just how difficult would that have been anyway for you, even if you didn't have the damage?
Well, as soon as you see a guy like John behind you, you know it's going to be pressure for the whole race. And the way he was catching me in the braking zones, in the hairpins at the end of the lap, I just knew that I wasn't going to be able to pull away from him, and I knew that I just have to defend as much as I could through the whole race, and unfortunately, I only lasted like 3 laps. So, yeah, it would have been fun to go for a bit longer, but I did have fun for the few laps that I was in the lead, and yeah, not too bad in the end.
Well, I mean, hopefully we can see it again at some point throughout the course of the season. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to, James, before we let you go?
Well, everyone involved, but I'll shout out in particular Damien G, because he was the guy who introduced me to the league last season when he spotted me in officials. So shout out to him for letting me know that this is all going on, and it's been a lot of fun, and I'm going to be here for the rest of the season, I think.
Well, we look forward to it, certainly. And thanks very much to Demi G, who, by the way, I don't know if you saw, I don't know how much contact we have with him. His car exploded today. Look it up on the Discord. It's quite a sight. Anyway, right. Congratulations, James, on a good start to the season. Thanks for chatting to us as well.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you
so much. James Barry there at the end of race at Donington Park. We've got one more interview before we go this evening, and it's with Paul Godden, who also now joins us. Welcome in, Paul. Good to have you with us as well. How was your opening round of the season here at Donington?
A bit up and down. It was great to be back in the car and start a new season with everyone again. But yeah, race, I had no pace in practice. I didn't manage to get on this week for a lot of practice due to work commitments, but I just got on with it, got a setup I felt comfortable with. I knew I was going to be a bit slow, but thought maybe I can pick some places up. And then I've been practicing my starts from end of last season. My starts got really good. And I think tonight in the first race, I think I made up 6 or 7 places, which was good. And then I knew eventually I'd work my way towards the back of the field and just trying to fight them off a little bit to see where I end up. And unfortunately, it didn't really work out and ended up in 19th. They started again, race 2 the same way, made 11 places up the first lap, which was really good. And then I ran wide on one corner and just lost all the grip, and like 4 or 5 cars come past, and that was it. I was back to running on my own, unfortunately, and a bit boring. But overall, it was good to be back in the car and racing with everyone. So that's the main thing.
Absolutely. By the way, on a completely unrelated note, I haven't asked anybody about this yet, which I'm a little bit annoyed about, but I'll ask you. What did you make of the new qualifying format? No limit on laps anymore, just 10 minutes still, but everyone out there together, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I really enjoy the open qualifying. I think it makes a better spectacle for the broadcast. I think it makes you have to plan a bit more in the qualifying, so you either have to try and get a gap, or I know there's like a gentleman's agreement where they don't really want you towing too much, which sometimes is easier said than done. Like tonight, I think it was Michael behind me. He was getting a tow, and I tried to let him pass, because I knew I was being slower than him, and he backed off and lost his lap, and I lost my lap. So I thought, right, I've got 6 minutes to go. So I thought, right, I'll do a quick lap. And then he got a quick lap in, and then he caught me up again, and then he just backed off and lost his lap. So he lost 2 laps because he was behind me, when if he was in front of me, he probably would have had those 2 laps. So it's a bit more tactical and picking where you are on the track to try and get a clear run. But I think for the rest of the season, it's going to be really good. And it's just, I think it's better all round. Makes it a lot more realistic as well, which is good fun.
Yeah, certainly does. We'll see how that plays out over the remainder of the season. Paul, congratulations on the first round of the season. We hope to see you again throughout, of course. And thanks for chatting to us.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks very much. Paul Goddard there at the end of the first 2 races in the Radical Race Series for Donington Park here to open out the season. Well, that's it for the opening round of the Radical Race Series here this time around. James, good to have the season off to a good start, but it almost feels like the last season never ended. John McCutcheon 5th and 1st, despite starting from the very back.
Yeah, look, to be honest, for a last to first challenge, I think John's probably could be able to do that anyway. But I think overall, if that's the beginning of what we're looking forward to, then I think we're in for some great racing. You know, we go to Magny-Cours next week, and I'm not a lover of Magny-Cours, I've got to be honest. But we will get great racing because these guys deliver it. So let's see how they get on, and hopefully we'll be all right. But it's going to be an interesting season. I think there could be more than 1 or 2 challengers, so let's see what happens.
Yeah. I'm a fan of Manicourt, by the way. I hope it produces good racing, but and that's never promised, of course. We'll see how it goes. Make sure you join us next week. We'll be here, same time, same place on the JPB YouTube channel. But make sure you subscribe and check out all the other racing that's going on. Plenty of it. Even tonight, if you're up for a late one here in Europe, and if you're American, then it's just into the normal evening. Still plenty of racing going on throughout the week, of course, until we join you next here in the Radical Race Series. So make sure you subscribe and check out the other racing that is going on throughout the week. For now, though, that is it for the opening round of the 4th season of 2023. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside James Parfitt. And from all of us here at JPB, here until the next round at Manicourt, it's goodbye for now.